New Orleans is a point of origin and a point of liberation. Besides Charleston, more Africans came through this continent, this continental landmass, through New Orleans than any other place. So much of our culture originates here. There's a question in this gallery. We're here at the New Orleans African American Museum. There's a question as part of the exhibit, which is, how do you freedom dream? New Orleans has taught African America how to freedom dream. The music, the food, is liberatory. The way that we connect cultures here. All that is a part of dream-made material. You can see it in the architecture. You can feel it in the resilience. This is a place that not only is geologically underwater, but literally, physically was underwater and in many cases left for dead.
So much history here. It's a birthplace of jazz, and it's sort of a feeder to American culture. And so much of what happens here, or what has happened here, has bled its way into the rest of America.
We're in a museum, and so it's archival, but we're also in a museum that considers contemporary artists, so it's also progressive. And so just being around the art in this place and really being in the city of New Orleans in general, the history is very much inscribed in the doorways, in the foodways, in the language, in the cultural retentions. So the past is evident in the present, everywhere. But if the past is present, then you also know that the present is future.
It's like a ride. It feels like, okay, something. Yeah.
Charles is a very talented musician. I think he comes from a tradition where, music isn't like necessarily written down. It's like an oral tradition. And this is sort of his first time working with like a string quartet, which is a very, very old ensemble. Beethoven, Haydn, Mozart, they all use this ensemble. And, for him to sort of bring these worlds together is eye-opening. And that having him a part of the program really highlights the purpose of the Cartography project. Just showcasing composers who may not come from a conservatory training, but still have the chops, the education, the understanding of music to write a good piece, and that's the whole point.
Part of what we've talked about, I think, in general, is that all the composers and all the librettists challenge classical norms. And that's important for the growth of the Washington National Opera. It's important for the growth of the National Symphony Orchestra, and just important for the growth of the classical form.
There's this one part in the cello, and for my mind, that is 100% influenced by tubas in New Orleans marching bands, because marching band here is it's like a giant thing, huge, right? Little kids start from this age, right? And so, but that's to your point of the Louis Armstrong. The music culture is so embedded. I can't help but put that into the music. So like the cello is playing this very, to me, rhythmic thing, but all that is just something that I would hear in New Orleans, case closed. And like the chords and stuff, all that little crunchy, like it's just the sounds of the city.